Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and hit the bell icon. Kayce's freedom in Yellowstone's ending was set up way back in the show's very first episode. Yellowstone offers Kayce, Luke Grimes, a poignant ending in which he finally achieves his freedom from the burden of caring for the Dutton Ranch, which was prepared for in the neo-Western's pilot episode. The ending of the Yellowstone series finally wraps up the saga of the Dutton family after John's Kevin Costner murder. The final half of Season 5 begins with the revelation that John has been killed, his death staged to look as if he had done it to himself. It all ends by showing what happens to the main characters after they sell John's ranch. Kayce is instrumental both in the sale of the ranch and in learning what happened after discovering Yellowstone's John Dutton is dead. His violence toward the man behind the assassination is out of character, as Kayce threatens a child with a gun. However, he redeems himself by selling the ranch to Chief Rainwater, Gil Birmingham, at a low price so that Rainwater wouldn't have to pay heavy property taxes. This choice returns the land to the indigenous people and frees Kayce of the heavy task of protecting his father's legacy, causing him to cry tears of joy after the sale. Yellowstone Season 1 plunges Kayce into a web of secrets and lies that almost cost him both his freedom and his marriage. During the series' premiere episode, the Duttons go to war with Chief Rainwater over some livestock that both John and Rainwater claimed, leaving Kayce stuck in the middle because of his loyalty to both Monica's Kayce family and his own. Kayce's attempt to protect Lee, Dave Annable, during a skirmish only makes everything worse, as Kayce doesn't want Monica to know he fatally shot her brother to try to save his. While Monica doesn't know the details of that night, she knows her husband is hiding something, which puts more pressure on him. Monica's belief that Kayce's association with the ranch is causing issues in their marriage is not entirely off base. Meanwhile, Kayce is desperate to escape the trap he was stuck in, which is ruining his life. He loses his freedom temporarily when he is arrested by the tribal authorities, and his marriage almost unravels, making it clear where loyalty to John is taking him, and starting a series-long quest to escape this fate. Throughout Yellowstone's run, Kayce can't reconcile his identity as a Dutton with his loyalty to the indigenous people he is related to via marriage. He is often a fierce advocate for the tribe's well-being and sometimes risks his life to help protect tribal members, such as when he acts as a vigilant to get justice for an indigenous girl who was kidnapped by two white men who came onto the reservation solely to hurt the people who lived there. However, the tribe does not fully trust him because of his allegiance to the Duttons. Kayce's decision to sell the ranch resolves this inner turmoil and external conflict. He gives up his father's legacy to the tribe, restoring the land to them in exchange for only a small portion where he and his family could live. This not only frees him from the burden of following John's path, but affirms that his loyalty is completely to the indigenous tribe. His connection to them is symbolized beautifully when he, Monica, and Moses brings plenty, all have the same vision of a wolf digging for food in their fields. Kayce and his family are now living on the East Camp property, which Chief Rainwater agrees to let them keep in exchange for buying the rest of the property for only $1.25 per acre. The shared vision of the wolf suggests that Kayce is on the right path and that the land has been blessed by the spirits of the animals who once roamed the area. He also chooses to reject Rip's offer of taking the Yellowstone sign to hang over his property, further cementing the idea that he plans to dissociate completely from John's ideas for his life. While Kayce is in a good place, he may need more help working the land than he admits. Rip offers to help if Kayce finds that making a living on his property is too hard to do by himself. Thus, there could still be stories for Yellowstone or its sequel to tell about Kayce's new quest to learn how to live on the land. He might also need to figure out how to accept help from Beth, Kelly Rayleigh, and Rip without falling back into shady behavior that leaves him trapped in a web of lies. In Yellowstone, the sprawling family saga of the Duttons, much of the focus is on power, land, and legacy. The show's central figure, John Dutton, played by Kevin Costner, may have the political sway and ruthless resolve, but it's his son Kayce, portrayed by Luke Grimes, who undergoes the most significant transformation across the series. Kayce's journey, one that brings him from a disillusioned soldier to a conflicted rancher, and ultimately to a man seeking personal freedom, was all set up in the very first episode of Yellowstone. The show opens with a stark image, a dangerous cattle drive across the rugged Montana landscape, setting the tone for the harsh, unforgiving world the Duttons inhabit. However, beneath the beauty of the land lies the tension of family loyalty, unresolved trauma, and personal desires. While we see a lot of this through the lens of John Dutton, Kayce's journey, particularly his quest for freedom, can be traced back to this foundational moment, blending the mythology of the American West with the personal conflicts that define the Dutton family. From the moment we meet Kayce, there's an unmistakable tension in his character. Unlike his father, who thrives on control, Kayce is a man clearly caught between two worlds. His return to the Dutton Ranch after years of estrangement signals a man still grappling with his past, torn between the life he once left behind and the one he's reluctantly rejoining. The first episode places Kayce as an outsider in his own family, someone who was never fully integrated into the power structure that John Dutton built, and it's this sense of alienation that forms the core of Kayce's evolution. Kayce's return isn't just physical, it's emotional, psychological, and existential. From the start, we learn that Kayce is trying to outrun something, not just his past with his father, but his own sense of guilt. His time in the military, the haunting memories of war, and the broken relationship with Monica, his wife, played by Kayce as Bill, weigh heavily on him. His pain is deep, and his desire for redemption is just as powerful as his desire to escape the weight of his family's expectations. Throughout the first season, Kayce remains somewhat of an enigma. He is not the strong, silent type that we expect from a Dutton. Instead, he is fractured, carrying emotional scars that define his actions more than his ambition does. At the heart of Kayce's story is his need to find peace, something that seems out of reach in a world constantly at war, whether with land developers, Native American groups, or the very family that he's supposed to inherit. In the show's first episode, Kayce's behavior foreshadows the future path he will eventually take. The way he isolates himself from his family and from the violent conflicts that engulf the ranch shows that Kayce is already seeking something beyond what his father has offered. John Dutton's methods, manipulation, control, and dominance, are antithetical to the kind of freedom that Kayce craves. As the show progresses, Kayce's complex relationship with his father becomes more pronounced. John is a man who believes in the myth of the cowboy, the lone protector of the land, willing to sacrifice anything, even his family, for the greater good. But Kayce doesn't fully buy into this vision of the West. His time away from the ranch has given him a different perspective. He's more attuned to the moral complexities of the world, and his loyalty to his father is constantly tested by his own evolving sense of self. While John seeks to keep the family united under the banner of power and control, Kayce's rebellion is internal. It's a struggle to find his own place in a world that is increasingly hostile and unyielding. This sense of internal rebellion culminates in Kayce's eventual decision to step away from the Dutton Empire and seek freedom, a choice that feels like a natural conclusion to his arc. His choice is made clear in the show's later seasons, but it's something that has been building from the first episode. His journey isn't just about escaping his father's shadow or leaving the ranch. It's about freeing himself from the weight of his past and finding a life that allows him to be his true self. What makes this decision so profound is the way it subverts the typical Western trope. Westerns often revolve around men who live and die by the sword, warriors who never question their role in the world. Kayce, on the other hand, isn't a man defined by violence or legacy. He's a man searching for peace, something that has been elusive throughout the series. The quiet, introspective nature of his search for freedom stands in stark contrast to the chaos that surrounds him. It's almost as if Kayce's ultimate freedom is the last, fragile hope for a new type of masculinity, one that doesn't depend on conquering or violence, but on personal reconciliation and acceptance.